The chlorine-scented air hit me like a slap, sharp and unforgiving, as I stared at the rippling blue surface of the pool that wasn't mine. My heart hammered in my chest, louder than the distant hum of cicadas in the July heat. Because Alex's neighbor, the guy with the easy laugh and eyes that crinkled like he knew all my secrets, had just whispered, "Come on, Cole. The water's perfect." His voice low enough to send a shiver down my spine despite the 90-degree blaze. And now, as I stood there frozen on the deck in my borrowed trunks, he dove in without another word, emerging with water streaming down his tan chest, turning to me with that grin that said he wasn't asking anymore. I told myself it was nothing, just a neighborly thing in this sleepy corner of suburban Ohio, where picket fences hid more than they revealed and summer nights stretched like unspoken promises. But as I kicked off my flip-flops and eased into the cool embrace of the water, feeling it swallow me whole, I knew better. Alex swam closer, his strokes smooth and deliberate, until he was right there, shoulder brushing mine, thigh grazing in the current, and he didn't pull away. The world narrowed to that single point of contact, electric and terrifying, like the first crack in a dam I'd spent 23 years building around myself. We floated like that for what felt like hours, though the sun hadn't dipped much lower, talking about nothing and everything: the lousy job market after college, how the local diner still served the best cherry pie this side of Cleveland, the way fireflies lit up the backyard like tiny rebellions against the dark. Alex's voice wrapped around me, warm and rough-edged from years of coaching Little League. And every time our eyes met, something twisted in my gut, a mix of hunger and fear that I'd buried so deep I almost forgot it was there. He was 25, all broad shoulders and quiet confidence, the kind of guy who fixed fences for fun and volunteered at the community center, while I was just Cole, the quiet graphic designer scraping by on freelance gigs, hiding in my one-bedroom rental next door, sketching logos for companies that would never know my name. That night, as the stars pricked the sky like hesitant confessions, Alex hauled himself out first, water sluicing off him in the porch light, and tossed me a towel with a wink. "Don't be a stranger, neighbor," he said, his voice carrying that Ohio drawl that made everything sound like an invitation. I mumbled something about work tomorrow, but my feet betrayed me, lingering on the wet concrete as he disappeared into his house. Alone with the empty pool, I sank onto the lounge chair, towel clutched like a lifeline, replaying the brush of skin on skin. What the hell was I doing? I'd spent my life dodging the pull toward men that my conservative folks in the next town over pretended didn't exist. The crushes I'd nursed in silence through high school lockers and college dorms. But Alex, he was right there, separated by a chain-link fence and a lifetime of what-ifs. The next morning, sunlight sliced through my blinds like an accusation, pulling me from a dream where water turned to fire and Alex's hand stayed on my waist. Coffee burned my tongue as I scrolled job listings on my laptop, anything to drown out the echo of his laugh. Our houses backed onto each other in this cul-de-sac of faded American dreams, his with the pristine lawn and grill marks on the patio, mine a cluttered haven of half-finished canvases and takeout boxes. I'd moved here 6 months ago, fleeing the suffocating grip of family expectations back in Dayton, where Dad's Bible thumped louder than his disappointment and Mom's sighs filled the silences. "Find a nice girl. Settle down," they'd say, oblivious to the truth gnawing at me since puberty. I wasn't wired that way. I'd dated women to fit the script: awkward dinners, forced kisses that tasted like ash but it never stuck. And now, this. A knock rattled my door around noon, jolting me from a client email. There he was, Alex, in cut-off jeans and a faded Buckeyes tee, holding 2 cold sodas like peace offerings. "Figured you could use a break from staring at that screen," he said, nodding toward my laptop visible through the screen door. His hair was still damp from a shower, curling at the nape of his neck. And up close, I could smell the faint citrus of his soap mingling with fresh-cut grass. I let him in, heart thudding like a bass drum, and we ended up on my sagging couch, feet propped on the coffee table strewn with sketch pads. He flipped through one absent-mindedly, his fingers lingering on a drawing I'd done of the neighborhood at dusk pools glowing like jewels. Figures blurred in the twilight. This is killer. Cole, you've got a real eye for the hidden stuff. His praise landed soft, but it stirred something reckless in me, a spark I'd thought long extinguished. We talked for hours, sodas sweating rings on the wood. Veering from art to his ex-girlfriend back in high school, she was great. But it fizzled timing. You know, to the scars on his knuckles from a bar fight he'd broken up last year. He leaned in when he laughed, close enough that I could see the faint stubble shadowing his jaw. And for the first time in forever, I didn't flinch away. By evening, the conversation turned raw, like peeling back layers of wallpaper in an old house. Ever feel like you're waiting for something to click? He asked, eyes fixed on the window where fireflies danced again. I swallowed hard, the words bubbling up unbidden. All the time. Like life's a puzzle, and I'm missing half the pieces. He turned to me then, gaze steady and searching, and in that moment, the air thickened with possibility. His hand brushed mine on the cushion accidental. Maybe neither of us moved. The silence stretched, charged, until my phone buzzed, a text from my sister, reminding me of the family barbecue next weekend. Reality crashed back, cold as pool water, and I pulled away, mumbling about deadlines. Alex left with a clap on my shoulder, his touch lingering like a brand. Swim tomorrow. My treat burgers after. I nodded, throat tight, and as his truck rumbled down the drive, I paced my kitchen, pulse racing. This was dangerous territory, the kind that could unravel everything I'd stitched together to pass as normal. But lying in bed that night, sheets twisted around me, I couldn't shake the heat of his proximity. The way his presence made the world feel less like a cage. Days blurred into a rhythm I hadn't known I craved. Lazy afternoons by the pool, where Alex's invitations turned routine, his body gliding through water like it was made for him. I'd watch from the edge, towel draped over my knees, sketching him in quick lines the arch of his back, the way droplets clung to his lashes. He'd catch me sometimes, splashing water my way with a teasing grin. Get in here, artist boy, or I'll drag you. And I would, heart leaping as he closed the distance, our laps sinking until shoulders bumped, excuses fading. One sweltering Thursday, as thunder grumbled on the horizon, we treaded water in the deep end, faces inches apart. Rain started then, fat drops pattering the surface like secrets spilling. Ever think about just letting go? Alex murmured, his breath warm against my cheek, eyes dark with something unspoken. My pulse thundered, the storm mirroring the one inside me. I could taste the salt of my own fear, mingled with want. Every damn day, I whispered back, and before I could second guess, his fingers grazed my arm deliberate this time, tracing a path that lit me up like live wire. We didn't kiss that night. The rain drove us inside, laughing and dripping across his kitchen linoleum, towels flung haphazardly. But as we scarfed burgers at his counter, knees knocking under the island, the air hummed with what we'd left unsaid. He drove me home in the downpour, wipers slashing rhythmically. And at my door, his hand on the gearshift hesitated. Cole, this feels right, doesn't it? His voice cracked, just a fraction, revealing the vulnerability beneath his easy facade. I nodded, words failing, and stepped out into the deluge, the door clicking shut like a promise sealed. Sleep evaded me, body thrumming with the ghost of his touch. By morning, doubt crept in, whispers of what my family would say. The judgmental stares from old friends. The life I'd lose if I leaped. But Alex texted at dawn. Pool's waiting. No pressure. And just like that, I was back in the water. The cycle pulling me under. Weeks passed in a haze of stolen moments. Sunset swims where our conversations delved deeper. His confessions about feeling out of place in his own skin since coming out quietly to a few friends in college. My halting admissions about the walls I'd built. He was bi? He'd said one night. Stars wheeling overhead. But labels never fit right. I envied his quiet courage. The way he'd carved space for himself in this conservative pocket of America. Me. I'd hidden so long the truth felt foreign on my tongue. Then came the barbecue. My sisters call a ticking bomb. Mom's asking about you. Cole. Bring someone. The words stuck like thorns. I showed up alone. The backyard grill smoke curling like accusations. Dad's firm handshake masking his unspoken questions. Still single. Plenty of good girls out there. I forced a smile. Beer bitter on my tongue. Scanning the crowd for escape. That's when my phone lit up. Alex. A photo of the pool shimmering empty. Caption, missed you today. Guilt twisted sharp as I drove home. The highway blurring through unshed tears. Alex was waiting on his porch. Rocking chair creaking. A beer extended like an olive branch. Rough day? He asked, reading me like one of my sketches. I collapsed beside him. The words tumbling out of pressure. The fear. The ache of wanting this with him, but dreading the fallout. He listened. Hand on my knee steadying me. Until the moon rose high. You're not alone in this. Cole. We figure it out together or not at all. That night, under the porch light's glow, we kissed for the first time slow. Tentative. His lips tasting of hops and home. It shattered me. Rebuilt me in the same breath. A dam breaking at last. We stumbled inside. Hands exploring with the reverence of the starved. Bodies fitting like pieces I'd long mourned lost. In his bed, whispers turned to gasps. The world shrinking to us. Sweat slick and real. But dawn brought clarity's cruel edge. As Alex slept, chest rising steady, I slipped out, heart pounding with panic. What had I done? The text from family piled up, where were you? And old shame roared back. I ghosted him for days, burying myself in work. The pool of forbidden temptation through the fence. He confronted me one evening. Voice steady but eyes wounded. Standing on my doorstep with rain-soaked shoulders. Talk to me. Cole. Don't run. The dam cracked again. My fears spilling. The bigotry I'd seen swallow friends. The family I'd lose. The small-town whispers that could end us. He pulled me close. Rain mingling with tears. I get it. But hiding. That's the real killer. We face it. Or it faces us down. From there, the storm truly brewed not the summer squalls, but the one we'd invited by daring to love. My sister spotted us at the diner one Saturday, her eyes narrowing over pancakes. Who's the guy? Casual, but laced with warning. Word spread like Ohio wildfire. Reaching my parents by Monday. Dad's call was ice. What the hell is this? Son. Some phase. Mom's followed. Soft and breaking. We love you. But. Pray on it. Alex stood firm. His hand in mine at the community bonfire. Faces turning as we arrived together. A cousin sneered. Fairy tale ending. Huh. But Alex's arm around me was armor. We swam through it. Nights tangled in sheets turning to days of quiet defiance, volunteering side by side. Sketching his portrait for a local exhibit that drew gasps and then applause. The climax hit like thunder. Dad showed up unannounced. Bible in hand. Face etched with fury and fear. This ends now. Cole. Come home. Alex faced him in the driveway. Voice even, he's home. Sir. With me. The words hung. A gauntlet thrown, and Dad's shoulders slumped. The fight draining as he saw the truth in our linked hands, not rebellion, but peace. Forgiveness came slow, a trickle after the flood. Mom visited first, tentative coffees turning to hugs. Her, "I just want you happy," a bomb. Dad took longer, but one swim watching from the fence as we laughed in the water nodded. Gruff, "Treat him right, son." The town thawed too, whispers fading to shrugs. Our story just another thread in the American tapestry. Now, as autumn leaves drift into the pool like confetti, Alex slides in beside me. Unchanged clothes, unyielding. We've built something real, a life of sketches sold in galleries. His coaching badge gleaming, our hands intertwined at every turn. The water laps gentle, carrying away the old fears, leaving only this love, fierce and unapologetic. A dive worth every risk. In the quiet after, as fireflies wink approval. I know, one splash ignited it all. But we chose to keep swimming. The chill of early fall nipped at the edges of our swims, turning steam from our breaths into ghosts that danced above the water. Alex had rigged a heater for the pool, stubborn as ever about extending summer. And I'd tease him for it, splashing cold handfuls his way until he'd retaliate with a dunk that left us both gasping and grinning. Those moments were our sanctuary, carved from the chaos we'd stirred. But beneath the surface play, the ripples of change spread wider, testing the fragile peace we'd forged. My freelance work picked up after the exhibit. A local magazine commissioned illustrations for a piece on Midwestern reinventions. And irony laced every stroke as I drew figures emerging from shadows, hands reaching tentative toward light. Alex beamed at the spread, framing a tear sheet on his fridge, my artist's a star. His pride warmed me deeper than any pool heat. But it came laced with its own pressures. You should quit scraping by, he'd murmur over breakfasts of scrambled eggs and black coffee. His foot hooked around my ankle under the table. Move in. Make this official. The idea terrified and thrilled in equal measure. My rental lease ticked down, a countdown to decision, and every night tangled in his sheets. I traced the map of his body, the freckles across his shoulders like constellations, the scar on his hip from a childhood bike crash, and wondered if I was brave enough. We'd fallen into rhythm, his early mornings at the field, my late nights at the drafting table, evenings colliding in the kitchen with takeout and tangled limbs. But permanence. That meant facing the world as us, not just stolen hours. My sister's wedding loomed like a milestone I dreaded. Emily's big day in Cincinnati, all lace and toasts, a mirror to the life I'd dodged. Bring Alex, she texted, her tone light but probing, the first crack in her acceptance facade. I'd come out to her months back, over wine-fueled tears, and she'd hug me fierce, love's love. Dummy. But family gatherings amplified the stakes. Dad's brooding silence is a reminder of fractures not fully mended. We drove down together, Alex's truck humming along I-71, his hand on my thigh a steady anchor. Worst case, we bail to the bar, he joked, but his grip tightened at the hotel check-in, where the clerk's double take lingered. The rehearsal dinner was a minefield, aunts cooing over Emily's gown, uncles slapping backs with beer foam enthusiasm. Dad pulled me aside mid-meal. Breath whiskey sharp. Proud of you, son, for the art, the grit. But this. He gestured vaguely toward Alex, chatting with Mom over appetizers. Don't throw away your future. The words landed like stones in still water, sending shockwaves. I bit back the retort, this is my future, and excused myself to the balcony, city lights blurring through stinging eyes. Alex found me there, slipping an arm around my waist. Hey, breathe. We're good. His lips brushed my temple, a quiet vow, and in that stolen breath of night air, I believed him. The ceremony was beautiful. Emily radiant in white, vowing forever to a man who looked at her like she hung the moon. As rings exchanged, Alex's fingers laced with mine under the pew, his thumb stroking circles that grounded me. At the reception, we danced awkward at first. His two left feet shuffle, earning laughs then fluid, bodies sinking to a slow country ballad. Eyes turned, whispers hummed, but for once, they felt distant, like static on a radio we tuned out. Dad cornered us later, by the cake table, face flushed from cake and champagne. I meant what I said. Cole. But seeing you too. Happy. It sticks in my craw. But it's real. He extended a hand to Alex. Gruff, take care of him. The olive branch trembled, and Alex clasped it firm. Always. Sir. Mom teared up nearby, pulling us into a hug that smelled of lavender and forgiveness. By drive home, the knot in my chest loosened, replaced by a tentative hope. Back in Ohio, life accelerated. I signed the lease transfer, boxes migrating next door in a weekend blur of sweat and laughter. Our first night official, pool lights casting azure glows through the window. We made love slow and deliberate, mapping new territories, his gasps in my ear, my name a prayer on his lips. This is home, I whispered after, head on his chest, heartbeat sinking like waves. But kinks emerged, subtle as cracks in pavement. Alex's coaching schedule clashed with my deadlines, leaving notes on the fridge, late practice, love you. I'd stare at them, loneliness creeping, sketching absent-minded figures in empty beds. One night, after a canceled dinner, he came home exhausted, collapsing without a word. I lay awake beside him, the space between us vast as an ocean. It built to a head during a brutal cold snap, pool drained and covered like a wound. I'd landed a big contract national ad campaign, deadline looming and holed up in the spare room turned studio, pencils snapping under frayed nerves. Alex knocked late, concern etching his face. You've been a ghost. Cole. Talk. The dam broke then. Frustration spilling, the isolation. The fear that domesticity dulled us. The whisper that maybe love wasn't enough against the grind. He listened, hurt flickering, then pulled me close. We're building, not breaking. Lean on me. We stripped the studio bare that night, reorganizing into shared spaces, baseball mitts beside my charcoal-alsa tangible merge. Mornings shifted, coffee together. Quick kisses before he left. Texts through the day like lifelines. Spring thawed the ground in us. Blooms unfurling in the yard like tentative trust. We hosted a cookout. Neighbors mingling wary at first misses. Hargrove from across the street eyeing us over coleslaw then warming. Tales exchanged over burgers. Alex grilled with flair, flipping patties while stealing glances my way. And I sketched the scene live, capturing laughter in quick lines. Yet shadows lingered. An anonymous note slipped under the door one dawn. Sickos. Move. Scrawled hate. Anonymous poison. Alex crumpled it. Jaw tight. Ignore the noise. But it burrowed, fueling nightmares where crowds jeered. Dad's face twisted back to scorn. I withdrew. Swims avoided. Sketches dark and jagged. He dragged me to the pool one humid evening. Water calling like absolution. In. He commanded. Stripping to trunks. Diving with a whoop. I followed reluctant. The chill shocking sense back. We raced laps. Competitive splashes turning to chases. His capture pinning me against the wall breathless. Alive. See. We're stronger than their shit. He panted. Forehead to mine. The note drowned that night. Unread. Summer crested again. Our first anniversary marked by a road trip camping in the Smokies. Tent zipped against stars. Bodies entwined under wool. We hiked trails at dawn. hands clasped on rocky paths. Sharing dreams, his youth center expansion. My gallery show in Columbus. Around a crackling fire. Marshmallows toasting golden. He knelt sudden. Ring glinting simple band. Etched with waves. Marry me. Cole. Dive in forever. Tears blurred the firelight. Joy crashing like surf. Yes. I choked. Pulling him down to the blanket. Love sealing the vow in skin and sighs. The wedding was small backyard poolside. Friends and chosen family in folding chairs. Emily officiating with teary grin. Dad walked me down the aisle of AstroTurf. Arm steady. Mom dabbing eyes. Vows exchanged over water's edge, in calm and storm. I choose you. Ring slipped on. Cool as promise. And as we kissed to cheers, the pool beckoned dressed in suits. We jumped. Splashing guests in joyful chaos. Life post-vow deepened roots. The youth center thrived. Alex mentoring kids like Usout and Proud. Stories shared in circle time. My art bloomed. A series on submerged truths, touring galleries. Pools as metaphor for hidden depths. We adopted a rescue dog. A scruffy mutt named Ripley, who claimed the lounge chair as throne. Challenges came, job loss for him in a budget cut. My burnout from tours, but we swam through. Therapy sessions like laps building strength. One winter, snow blanketing the covered pool. We slow danced in the living room. Heater humming. His whisper still wouldn't move away. Years layered like sediment. Turning boys to men, his laugh lines deepening. My hair threading silver. Grandkids from Emily splashed in our pool. Tales of Uncle Cole and Uncle Alex spun like legends. Dad, softer in age, barbecued with us. Stories shifting to pride. On our 10th, under harvest moon, we floated again. Water warm from day's sun. His hand in mine. Unchanged. Best dive ever. He murmured. I smiled. Heart full. One invitation sparked a lifetime. Proving love's current carries if you let it. The epilogue of our story unfolded not in grand gestures, but in the quiet accumulation of days. Each one a brushstroke adding depth to the canvas. We'd begun sketching that first swim. Ripley grew gray-muzzled, curling at our feet during movie nights. His snores a soundtrack to our evolving rhythm. Alex's youth center expanded into a full community hub. Walls painted with murals, I designed vibrant scenes of diverse figures linking arms. Water motifs weaving through like veins of resilience. He'd come home dusty from construction, pulling me into hugs that smelled of sawdust and sweat. And we'd collapse on the couch, his head in my lap as I read aloud from whatever manuscript caught my fancy. My art career, once a fragile freelance thread, wove into something sturdy. The Submerged Truths series led to a solo show in Chicago, then New York. Critics praising the raw emotional undercurrent, without knowing the personal torrent behind each piece. Standing under gallery lights. Alex at my side in a button-down that strained at his shoulders. I'd squeeze his hand during toasts, grounding myself in the man who'd taught me to surface. You're the real masterpiece. He'd whisper, eyes crinkling, and I'd laugh it off. But the words settled deep. A counterweight to imposter doubts. Family ties mended unevenly, like a quilt patched with care. Emily's kids, Mia and Jordan, visited summers, turning the pool into a riot of cannonballs and mermaid dives. Tell the story again. Uncle Cole, how you met. Mia would beg. Towel turbant. And I'd spin it sanitized for little ears, the neighbor. The swim. The magic of not moving away. Jordan, sharper at 10, would roll his eyes, boring. Did you kiss right away? Alex would ruffle his hair, winking, patience. Kid, good things bubble up slow. Dad's transformation was the slowest stitch. Post-retirement, he tinkered in our garage, tools clanging like reluctant apologies. One afternoon, grease-streaked, he handed me a toolbox, your granddad's. Figured you'd use it better than me. No words on the past. But the gesture spoke acceptance forged in silence. Mom baked pies weekly. Her kitchen, our confessional, where she'd slip questions about the boys with a softness that eased old wounds. Yet, no life swims smooth forever. The first real undertow hit in our 15th year, when Alex's annual checkup unearthed a shadow on his lung smoker's ghost from college experiments he'd quit cold for me. Benign. Probably, the doc said, but biopsies loomed like storm clouds. Nights blurred into vigils, me pacing the kitchen, coffee cold, while he slept fitful, hands seeking mine in the dark. If it's bad, he'd start, voice cracking, and I'd silence him with kisses fierce as lifelines. We fight. Together. The wait stretched eternal. Days marked by pool laps alone at dawn. Strokes mechanical. Water no balm against fear. Friends rallied. Emily flying in with kids for distraction. Neighbors dropping casseroles with notes of, "We've got you." When results came, clean scar tissue. Nothing Morway wept in the doctor's office. Alex's laugh breaking first. Raw and relieved. That night, we drained champagne in the pool. Suits abandoned. Bodies reclaiming joy under stars. The scare reshaped us. Priorities sharpening like a well-honed blade. Alex scaled back coaching, focusing on mentorships that fit his energy. I turned down a West Coast residency, choosing home over hustle. We traveled light road trips to national parks, tents pitched by glacial lakes, where swims in icy waters reminded us of fragility and fire. Every dive's a gift, he'd say, teeth chattering, pulling me close on pebbled shores. Community shifted too. The notes Cinder outed as a bitter ex-neighbor, relocated after town hall apologies. But it sparked our hub's Pride Month events women's for LGBTQ youth. Stories shared poolside like ripples expanding. I keynote once. Voice steady, love isn't a splash. It's the current that carries you. Alex watched from the front row, pride beaming, our rings catching light like beacons. Aging crept gentle, silver threading our hair, bodies softening but hands still fitting perfect. Ripley passed peaceful on his chair, buried under the oak we'd planted young. We adopted again a wiry terrier mix named Splash as yips echoing old joys. Grandkids multiplied, me as twins. Chaos incarnate, turning barbecues to whirlwinds. On our silver anniversary, we renewed vows at the altar of our pool. Guests few but fierce family in full. Friends toasting with raised glasses. Dad, cane in hand, stood tall, to the sons who taught an old man to swim. Laughter rippled, tears salting the air. We jumped again, water welcoming, emerging to cheers and cake smashed in faces. Now, in twilight years, we float lazy, aches in joints but not in hearts. Alex's hand in mine, eternal, wouldn't move away. He murmurs, sun dipping low. I smile, complete, from one invitation. A legacy love's endless current, pulling us home. Looking back, that first swim feels like the big bang of our universe expansion from a singular spark into galaxies of memory. But the real gravity held in the ordinary orbits, grocery runs where Alex snuck kale into the cart for my health kicks, only for me to retaliate with extra cheese. Winter nights fortressing under quilts. His snores a lullaby. Spring cleanings devolving into water fights with the hose. Grass slick underfoot. These were the threads stitching us. Invisible until pulled taut. Professionally, we crested waves together. My gallery in Columbus became a second home. Walls cycling my work now, including portraits of Alex. Captured mid-laugh or thoughtful gaze. Titled Unmoved. Critics called them intimate revolutions. To me, they were devotions. He opened a side hustle. Custom grills for tailgates. His welds as precise as his love. We'd collaborate, me designing logos etched in metal, him forging them fire-hot. At trade shows, hand in hand, we'd field stares with shared smirks, turning curiosity to sales. Family wove tighter. Emily's divorce hit hard, messy custody. Tears over wine, but we were her rock. Pool weekends with kids, her reset button. You two make it look easy. She'd sigh, feet dangling in water. It's not, I'd confess, but worth the work. Dad's health-dipped heart scare mirroring Alex's old one, but rehab brought him closer. Weekly chess games on the patio where he'd grumble checkmate, but beam at our banter. Challenges evolved. Empty nest echoes when Mia left for college. Her goodbye hug fierce. Thanks for showing us real love. We filled voids with Causes Hub expansions to rural outreach. Driving vans of supplies to farms where kids like young us hid. One boy, 16 and trembling, confessed over cocoa, scared to tell dad. Alex knelt eye level, fears the deep end. Jump with backup. Months later, pride flags waved in that yard. Our invite to the swim party. Full circle. A curveball came mid-60s, my vision faltered. Pencils blurring to haze. Diagnosis: macular degeneration. Slow thief. Rage boiled first. Sketches abandoned in frustration. Pool laps: furious strokes against helplessness. Alex adapted: seamless. Audiobooks read in his gravel voice. Braille kits for notes. Guiding hands in dark theaters. Your eyes and your soul, he'd say, tracing my palm. We pivoted to voice-guided digital art. Narratives voiced for podcasts. His encouragement: the canvas. Travel slowed but deepened. European rivers cruised. Alex narrating canals like stories. My fingers mapping his descriptions. In Venice, gondola rocking gentle. He proposed a second honeymoon yearly, keep diving. He winked. Back home. Splash aged graceful. Chasing fewer squirrels, but guarding our laps fierce. Grandkids grounded us, Jordan's wedding. Him partnering a quiet engineer named Theo. Vows echoing ours. To currents that carry. He toasted. Eyes on us misty. The twins. Now teens. Interned at the hub. Mia's daughter sketching beside me. Her lines bold echoes. 70 crept. Bodies protesting, but spirits buoyant. Dad passed gentle. Final words: swim proud. Boys. Funeral rain lashed. But we gathered after. Pool heated defiant. Toasts to his quiet evolution. Alex's cough returned innocuous toll but checkups routine. Hands clasped in waiting rooms. Our routine: dawn coffees. Porch swings, creaking tales retold. Pool floats lazy under sun. Still here, he'd say. Unmoving. Always. I'd reply. Heart's hook set firm. Legacy bloomed. Hub endowed in our names. Scholarships for queer artists and athletes. At the dedication, youth swam laps in rainbow suits. Splashes a symphony. We watched from chairs. Hands entwined. Full circle complete. In quiet nights. Stars wheeling. I trace his facelines mapped by years. Love's cartography. One swim sparked eternity. Proving, in America's heartland, love flows deep. Unyielding. A current for all who dare. As octogenarians, time softened to a gentle current. Days meandering like lazy river bends. The pool. Our constant. Required lifts now, Alex insisting on solar covers. Me rigging easy access steps, but we adapted. Floats buoyant under aging frames. Mornings started slow, his arthritic hand in mine. Shuffling to the kitchen for tea steeped strong. Splashes success or a fluffy rescue named drift-tangling legs with eager yips. Health's tides ebbed predictable, my eyes dimmed further. World an impressionist blur. But Alex's voice painted vivid, describing cardinal flashes in the oak. Sunset pinks bleeding to indigo. His own aches knee replacements. Hearing aides met with gruff humor. Old bones. Young hearts. Doctor visits tag-teamed. Emily shuttling us. Her kids now parents ferrying grand offspring for visits that filled the house with shrieks and splashes. Art persisted transformed. I dictated memoirs. Currents of courage. Alex co-authoring interludes, his coaching anecdotes woven with our love's arc. Publishers clamored. Readings packed with youth clutching copies like talismans. Your story saved me. A teen murmured post-talk. And Alex's arm around me tightened. Silent pride. The hub thrived autonomous. Our roles advisory guest speeches. Poolside mentorships where we'd share war stories softened by decades. One event. Pride flotilla on the local lake. Boats decked rainbow. We captained the lead. Horns blaring triumph. Waves from shores once wary. Now waving mirrored our journey's tide. Family fractalized rich, Jordan's twins. Alex's mini MES in mischief. Cannonballing with glee. Mia's brood. Artistic sparks. Collaborating on murals that graced city walls. Holidays hubbed here. Tables groaning turkey and pie. Dad's toolbox repurposed as kid toy. His spirit in every clank. A scare revisited. Alex's heart fluttered erratic. Pacemaker implanted swift. Hospital sterile chilled me. Monitors beeping dirges. But surgery succeeded. His first words post-anesthesia, missed the water. Recovery pool-bound gentle. Hydrotherapy laps my guided strokes. Rebuilding strength splash by splash. We marked milestones modest, 80th with bonfire and Esmo race. Guests roasting tails Emily's toast, to the dive that dived us all. 90th loomed joint. Plans brewing cruise or cabin. But health vetoed grand. Instead, backyard vigil. Lanterns floating pool ward like wishes. Legacy formalized, whilst dictating hub endowments. Art archives donated. Pool trust for community swims, unmoved waters, fund. Youth letters poured gratitude. Your love lit my way. In stillness. Evening's porch swayed. Drifted feet. Stars confidence. Alex's voice. Softer now, best neighbor ever. Mine. Steady, unmoving anchor. One swim's echo. Rippling infinite kaleidoscope of emotion. Drama weathered to wisdom. Romance eternal in glance and grasp. America's heart. Once hesitant. Now beat inclusive. Our story footnote in progress. From that chlorine kiss to twilight floats. We'd proven, love's not splash but sustain. Current carrying through calm and gale. Inviting all to immersion. Nearing 90. The world contracted cozy house, our universe. Pool its beating heart. Mornings dawned assisted, caregivers gentle for baths. But swims remained ours. Hoists lowering us tandem. Water's embrace defying gravity's pull. Drift past peaceful. Buried beside kin. Replaced by Pip. A pint-sized pup whose barks rallied us from bed. Senses waned tandem, my sight near gone. His hearing faint. But synergy sharpened me descriptions fueling his echoes. Dialogues painting vivid tapestries. Meals simplified purees spiced memory. His, remember that diner pie. Sparking feasts relived. Family orbited devoted. Emily retired nearby. Coordinating care with Mia and Jordan. Grandkids rotating visits now great-grandparents themselves. Tots toddling pool edge under watchful eyes. Stories evolved interactive. Gramps Alex. The swim. Eliciting demos from chairs. Splashes by proxy. Art culminated. Memoir sequel. Endless currents. Narrated joint. Bestseller in audio. Awards trickled humanitarian nods. Pride icons accepted proxy. Our letters read aloud. From depths to surface. Love lifts. Hub visited virtual now. Screens linking us to flotillas. Our faces icons of endurance. A scholarship gala streamed live. Youth honorees toasting to Cole and Alex anchors in the tide. Health's final laps circled. Alex's lungs whispered weak. Oxygen mask companion. But spirits soared poolside oxygen. Laps traded for floats. My hand is compass. My own frailty mirrored. Joints locked. Bubble fluid. Emily's 60th. Surprise pool party balloons bobbing. Cake waterproof gathered all. Laughter echoing eras. Toasts layered. Jordan's pioneers of heart. Mia's teachers of true. We presided central. Rings glinting. Love's flame undimmed. A quiet crisis. Pneumonia felled him swift. Hospital haze my vigil. Monitors symphony somber. I held vigil. Whispering swims relived. His squeeze faint but fierce. Recovery fragile. Home hospice. Pool view his window to world. My turn followed winter flu cascading. Bed shared. Caregivers tag relay. Family encircled. Stories vigil voices. Pip curled foot warmer. Spring bloomed defiant. Cherry petals drifting pool like confetti farewell. One lucid dawn. Hands clasped. Alex murmured, ready for the big dive. I nodded. Tears salting, together. Unmoving. Passing staggered close, him first. Gentle exhale dawnlit. Me beside. Heart fracturing. Mine weeks later. Family gathered. Final float in memory ashes scattered pool ripples. Merging eternal. Legacy surged. Hub renamed Cole and Alex Waters. Annual swims honoring. Memoirs adapted film. Premiere poolside projection. Ripples real as real. Great-great-grandkids splash. Tales transmitted. Great-great-uncles. The swim that started all. In ether. Currents converge one invitation's infinity. Drama distilled devotion. Emotion etched enduring. From Ohio backyard to boundless blue. Love's lesson, slide close. Stay world forever changed. Epilogue's echo lingers in the lives we sparked. A cascade beyond our banks. The pool stands sentinel. Maintained by endowment. Waters welcoming generations. Emily. Matriarch now. Hosts annual dives youth from hub plunging tandem. Pairs emerging linked. Echoing our first brush. Jordan's engineering firm innovates inclusive designs pool ramps universal. Hub's nationwide blueprint his blueprints. Mia's gallery wing bears our portraits. Unmoved, series guardian. Visitors tracing lines like pilgrim prayers. The film ripples global. Currents. Oscar nodded. Scenes of that swim montage heart. Audiences gasping at intimacy's spark. Screenings spark dialogues town halls. School assemblies where closets crack. Stories shared splash by splash. Our memoirs. Translated tongues. Backpack burdens lightened for hidden hearts worldwide. Letters archive mountains. Your words were my float. From Siberian winters to Sydney shores. Family tree branches vast. Great-grandkids author sequels. Illustrators inking our arcs anew. Annual reunions poolside. Toasts evolving. To currents carrying kin. Town transformed. Cul-de-sac pride flagged. Diner pie slice named Neighbor's Secret. Plaque pool deck, here. Love learned to swim. In collective memory. We're myth gentle neighbors who didn't move. Teaching tides truth. Vulnerability's victory. Romance resilience's root. Drama devotion's depth. From hook's plunge to horizon's hold. Our narrative affirms, one slide beside. Unmoving. Ignites universe humanity's best. Love's lasting wave.